15. No, I'm 15. No, I'm 15. No, I'm 15.
Hey, No I'm 15 listeners, it's your boy Set the Scenes. You know what that music means. Yeah, it's episode 4 of Loki dropped today. I don't know what to say, man. I just gotta get in my own mind and get my thoughts out the best way that I can. Especially when I'm talking about this show. My thoughts of what I saw. And spoilers are ahead, folks. So if you haven't seen episode 1, 2, or 3 of Loki, definitely go check those out. And check out our review of those. They're up on YouTube. So you can, listen to what we thought about those first 3 episodes. But episode 4, oh man, it's so different, so crazy, I would say, because as this show's gone on, it's like an onion. It's just peeling back the layers one after another and another, and you start, really getting more of a grasp of what is happening in the background, which is ultimately for me to say that the TVA is a farce. It's not legit, yo. It's fake. Everything happening on that plane, that realm of where they're supposed to be, I honestly think it's all a big front for something else. Someone doing shady stuff that they don't want nobody to know about, and they have a gift of taking people from the real world and putting them in this realm to try to help them cover their tracks. And I think that's what's happening, man. I think personally, in my opinion, this is the introduction of Kang into this universe, this MCU, Kang the Conqueror, and I think he's the one that's at play here, doing all these things. And you see kind of in this episode what happens. Like the last episode was a cliffhanger. They were stuck on that I don't know what it is. I keep saying moon or planet or whatever. They're stuck on Lamentis, and it seemingly looks like they're not going to be able to get off of this planet. But, eventually, you see Loki and Sylvie, who we now know likes to go by the name of Sylvie, talking. And Sylvie's kind of reminiscent about how this all started for her, how she got, taken away by the TVA as a real small child. But she was mischievous. She was on Asgard, different alternate Asgard. Didn't sit right with the sacred timeline, so the TVA came and got her. It was Ravonna who seemingly to me appears to be running the TVA. I don't know what y'all think, but that's what I think. And if I've read correctly in the comics and, researching and stuff, Ravonna's kind of like one of Kang's people. With Immortus' technology, Kang plucked Ravonna away from the time stream, creating a divergent Ravonna, or a variant Ravonna, and helping him with the Council of Kangs. So, that's a lot to get into, but basically you start seeing that Ravonna's got an ulterior motive. She's trying to cover something up. She's hiding stuff in this episode. She does it to Mobius. After Mobius, swoops in and saves Sylvie and Loki from Lamentis before it gets destroyed, because Sylvie and Loki have a moment where they bond, and that sets up this huge spike or branch off in the sacred timeline, making stuff look like it's going to go somewhere different. So Loki and Sylvie have a moment on Lamentis, and that triggers a spike in the sacred timeline that everyone at the TVA who's been looking for them after they escaped see it. They see it on their monitors in their little office and stuff, and they're like, oh shit, what's that? They've never seen anything like that before. So with that, they were looking for anything because they had Nexus events, scanning, and Mobius sets off. He's like, oh, we know where they are. So they go and get them. And I don't know if y'all remember previously, but I think it was episode 2 when they were at that what's the name of that place? I can't remember the name of that place. Glaxmart or something like that. And Sylvie touched Hunter B-15 and did something and triggered memories. Because by now, if you've spoilers seen episode 3, you realize that they say that they're all variants at the TVA working for someone, the timekeepers, quote unquote timekeepers, which we'll get to later on in this episode, which is a whole nother thing. But yeah, so that happens. They save Loki and Sylvie from Lamentus getting destroyed. They bring them in, arrest them, put them in separate interrogation rooms. You got one room with Sylvie, has a bunch of guards, and Hunter B-15. They're all outside and, guarding Sylvie, which Loki gets offended by. He's like, yo, why the hell she got more guards than me? Which is funny. I think it's funny. And yeah, so and then Mobius and 2 guards take Loki to, the interrogation room we've seen before. And in there, he sticks Loki in a time loop, which we see Lady Sith, who we haven't seen since the Thor movies, come out and relive a memory of Loki's where he cut her hair because he thought it was funny, and she just basically keeps kicking him in the groin and punching him in the face and telling him that he's always going to be alone. And it goes over and over and over until Mobius comes back and takes him out. But during that, Mobius basically letting him marinate in that loop where he's like reliving that moment over and over, and he's like, you're gonna tell me anything or what? Did you guys plan this? Was this who's the leader of this? Who's the one that wanted to do this all along? And Loki's obviously telling some lies and stuff, and you start seeing that he has feelings for Sylvie because Mobius acts like she's dead, and you just see the look on Loki's face, like, what? But he's like, you're lying. And he's like, oh, so you do care for her? And he's like, she's still around until we need her. And, that's when basically, Loki comes clean and tells Mobius that, they're all variants. Everything you've been told is a lie. And, Mobius doesn't want to believe it. And he's like, he puts him back in the time loop room. And before he puts him in there, Loki's like, the one that believing and lying the most in this whole place is you to yourself. Basically, is kind of what he says. And that kind of sticks with Mobius. So he goes and visits Ravonna in her office and, says, they're going to close the case and stuff. And they're kind of like acting like they're going to celebrate because he got what he needed from Loki. He thought he did. And he brings her that trophy, which is, Sylvie's sword that you've seen her use before in previous episodes. And, he's like, oh, where are you going to put that one over there in your trophy case? And Ravonna's like, I don't know. She grabs the sword and turns around. And in that moment, Mobius switches temporal pads with Ravonna, and because he's kind of like starting to think, what's going on here. And he's like, he has this drink. She's like, oh, just one drink? And he's like, yeah, I'm kind of tired. I'm Loki'd out. All these Lokis have been busting my ass basically this whole time. So I'm kind of tired. She's kind of lying because he just wants to get away and kind of see what's what, when he gets the temporal pad. So he gets it, and, you see him leave. At the same time, you see Hunter B-15 kind of like, yo, I need to go talk to Sylvie. All the guards that are through, and she goes in, and she closes the door behind her and opens up a portal, a time portal. And they're like, she's like, follow me. And, they go to that, what's that? It's killing me. It's called Roxcart. Jesus Christ, I'm terrible. What am I calling it? Bloxcart, Glaxon, Walmart cart. I don't know. I'm freaking horrible. Anyway, I was trying to remember the name of where B-15 takes Sylvie, and basically is like, she's like, what did you do to me? Why am I seeing the things I saw? And you enchanted me. And Sylvie's like, I can't create memories. What you saw was what you saw. That was your life before. And Hunter B-15's like, well, can you show me again? And Sylvie touches her while they're standing in the rain in front of Roxcart. And I'll say, like, out of this episode, this is probably the most emotionally powerful moment, I think, so far, because you're starting to see that these variants they're lost. It's got a real deep kind of meaning to it if you think about people that have gone missing. in the real world. They're just missing. No one can find them. And what if that's what these variants all are? The people that went missing. And while Sylvie's touching Hunter B-15's arm, and she's going through her memories, and you don't actually see the memories, but you see that she's feeling, and when it's over, she's like, it looks like I was happy. And Sylvie's kind of like, yeah, not saying it, but you can get that vibe. And Hunter B-15, so what do we do next? So then that's where a plan was hatched. And you see after that, Mobius, you see him in the library, and he goes through the temporal pad, and he's like looking at the file with the Hunter C-20's name on it, clicks on it, and you see like an interrogation happening, and Hunter C-20's talking about, oh, it was real. I saw my memories. I had a life. I was someone before I was at the TVA. And, this is wrong, and, you see Ravonna kind of come in, okay, that's enough. Let's end it here. And he zooms in. Mobius zooms in on his temporal pad while I was watching that little clip of that case file of the interrogation. And you see Hunter C-20 says, we're all variants. It kind of is like boom right there. And it ends. And, Mobius realizes that Loki was telling the truth, that they are all variants. So he goes and he gets in that time loop, tells him, do you really feel what you felt for Sylvie? Was it real? Because I think you guys can bring this whole place down. He's like, do you trust me? And then he's like, yeah. And then so they come out of the portal, and it seems like they're going to go and try to take down, the TVA and the timekeepers and everything. But the second they get out of there, man, that shit killed me. But the second they get out, spoilers, Ravonna is there with some guards, and they're like, grab them, and it's like, she's like, it looks like you have something in mind, which is like the temporal pad that he had swapped in the offices before. And man, it was bye-bye for our boy right there at that point. She just, it looked like she was like gripping with some tears, and he got pruned, man. They pruned Mobius. Before he gets caught, he's like, man, I hope I was happy before they brought me here, and maybe I had a jet ski. And I was like, damn, man, they did Mobius like that. And yeah, so you see that, and Ravonna's grabs Loki, and they take him to get in front of the timekeepers along with the other guards who got Sylvie, and they're going up the elevator. And Sylvie's like, yo, do you remember me, from when you grabbed me when I was a kid? Because that's something that happened earlier in the episode, when Sylvie was telling Loki about they got her when she was small from Asgard, and she's been running ever since, from apocalypse to apocalypse, hiding in there, growing up there. And that's what happened, man. It was like, oh man, they get up the elevator, and she's like, everyone's like, nah, I don't remember you. And I was like, damn, that's messed up too. So they get out the elevator, they're in front of the timekeepers. You finally see these three beings, and they're talking. And yeah, right when Loki says, you can kill me, I've been killed a bunch of times before, I don't care anymore. And they're basically saying like, oh, you're insolence variant, and someone dispose of him now. And it looks like the guards are going to come and prune Loki and Sylvie. But then the elevator opens, and Hunter B-15 pops out and deactivates the collars on Sylvie and Loki, so they have their powers, and they just start fighting the guards. They take out all the guards. At this point, it's crazy, because what ends up happening is ends up with a final battle, Sylvie against Ravonna, and she knocks her out. And when she does that, Loki takes out the last couple of guards, and then Sylvie's like, I'm gonna end this. She throws the sword and cuts off the head of one of the timekeepers. Head rolls down the steps, and boom, it's a robot head. It's an android head. They're fake. There is no timekeepers, no such thing as timekeepers. So oh man, again, you just kind of hear someone laughing in the background as the sound fades out, and Sylvie's like, man, what am I gonna do now? And Loki grabs her and is like, I've never felt like this before, and this is new for me too, but we'll figure it out. And while he's talking, guess who wakes up and prunes him? And he dissolves, freaking Ravonna does. And Sylvie punches her back again, gets the upper hand, and says, you're going to tell me what's really going on. And that's the end of the episode. I was like, what? They're going to kill Loki in his own show? And that's what kind of happened. I was like, no, man, they can't do that. And, I'll say this episode was really good. It was revealing. And it's just kind of all migrating towards something bigger, which is what is happening. And spoilers, there is a mid-credits scene on this episode. So, yeah, if you guys hang on and stick around for a couple minutes after the credits, you see Loki is alive, but he's somewhere else that looks pretty apocalyptic, and he sees 3 other Lokis there, and they basically tell him, you're not dead yet, but you are if you don't come with us. And yeah, that's how it ends. And I'm like, what? It's crazy, and it's definitely awesome and cool to look forward to, and I can't wait to get to the next episode now. It's just like, oh, man, I can't wait. So definitely thumbs up for me on this episode. A lot of exposure of things in the background, a lot of characters seemingly getting, zapped, pruned, gotten. But who knows? Who knows where this really is all going? And the timekeepers are fake. So, man, what is happening here? Yeah, let's tune in next time, next week, guys. And this, again, was your boy 7Cs with a quick hitter on the No on 15 Allcast for Loki episode 4. If you haven't checked out some of our other episodes, we got a couple of other ones up on YouTube as well for episode 1, 2, and 3 before this one. And you can check those out as well. And also, you can find us on social media. You can find us at the No 15 Allcast on Twitter and Instagram, and also on Facebook. Again, for everybody listening, this is your boy 7C saying peace out and God bless.